Welcome to ShiftWatch. I'm your host, Starbuck, and I've been hearing from lots of people over the last few weeks. Um, More than I had anticipated when I thought that there would be a shift in energies, but nonetheless, um, I've heard from a lot of people, especially the ones that I've met along the way, the ones that were tried. There were two recent instances where I came across the path of some people that I'd met at the first Shasta conference I had participated in the summer of 2022. First, there was Joe and Scott, who travel the world together and have been doing a podcast, Truthstream, for some time. Well, it had taken us all this time to finally reconnect. And so last Friday night, we sat down and did the first of what I suspect is going to be a few more of these podcasts. And it went really well. We went into detail on Telos, and it turned out to be interesting. And then there was my friend Chris Carter, who we stay in touch along the way, but I hadn't heard from him for a while. We had a chance to finally sit down and Zoom a little bit and compare notes on where we are. Let me read from the teleprompter, because here's what had occurred to me after my conversation with Chris, which is also on the YouTube channel. We had a chance to catch up today and couldn't help recognizing remarkable synchronicities while comparing notes on the current state of awareness levels and how each one of us got here. So with that, here's a little snippet of my conversation with Chris. Hope you enjoy it. Something triggered inside of me. It wasn't that I heard this magnificent oration and I had to find out what that was about. I suspect that there are more people that are going through these awareness changes the same way that I did. And that it didn't come from listening to others. And
Yeah,
the problem that I have,
certain people being together activate each other in a magical way.
yes, and I want to kind of underscore that point. When I got comfortable sequestered and didn't really need to be around anybody else. In fact, I preferred it because that way I wasn't affected by any of that crappy third dimensional white noise. When I attended kind of a practice retreat for this property in the Sedona area, just to see how the model is going to work. The proprietors decided they were going to just have a test one and asked me to participate to present my material, because there's a strong Lemurian draw with them to the energy and that whole aura. I was going to this event, I thought, as a presenter. Wasn't really part of the people that were there for this event. I'll understand when this is all over that of course I was supposed to be there for all of it. There was information and code exchanges that I know I provided for some of the people that were there when I shared my story. But there were codes that I was supposed to pick up from them as well. So I do not poo-poo the ability to get together and exchange energy that way, because that's the only way that those things were going to get exchanged with me. Zooming, and this is great, it's second place, but that palpable physical energy, when you're within the same space as others, that's an entirely different game to play. And I have a much better understanding of those two different kinds of energies. And I appreciate getting together with people, because when I look back at what took place that weekend, every one of those people and whatever they brought to the table, every one of them had to be there in order for this to take place. And so that's what I was referring to when I say, when you break down all the things that had to come together in order for this to take place, you could just marvel at that. One of the solar weather resources I suggested during the last episode was Dr. Tamitha Skov. So I've included a clip of her take on the recent conditions during the eclipse season so you can experience her presentation style. You'll also find a link to her resources in the description.
Space weather this week picks up in a big way, but first take a look at our sun. This is what the sun looked like on April 8th during the total solar eclipse. And in fact, we had a couple big prominences here and here that featured, well, prominently during totality. But there's something interesting about these prominences that you can't see unless you're looking from space. So we'll have to talk more about that surprise in a minute. Meanwhile, as we take a look at the rest of our solar disk, there hasn't been a lot of activity all that much. We kind of, watched the moon go by. We kind of waited for the moon and the whole solar eclipse thing to go before activity really began to pick up. But we've had a few eruptions here in the upper part of the sun. In fact, a couple of them. There's one right there, and then you'll see two filaments, 1 and 2, whoosh, right there. Those little eruptions actually have sent an Earth-directed solar storm our way. In fact, when we take a look at coronagraphs, you can see a little bit of this kind of partial halo from Stereo's coronagraph right there. But that is not a big storm. It's mostly going to go east of Earth, but it's got a little bit of a finger-like part that's going to actually hit Earth. Not going to expect all that much, but starting around the 14th. Then we're going to have, as you notice here, you'll see a big eruption begin, and then there'll be something right in this area as well. It's kind of like a bang bang kind of thing. So whoosh right there, and then right here, whoosh right here. You see this? This one actually, as we take a look at coronagraphs, you'll see a little bit of a halo. Look at that whoosh. See that right there? This is a halo as well. Once again, kind of wispy, but this one is much more Earth directed. So between those two eruptions, we actually do have two solar storms on their way to Earth. One should be hitting right around the 14th, and then the other one could be hitting into the 15th. But we'll just have to see how quickly they arrive. But this could mean some decent shows for aurora photographers. Meanwhile, look at all of the activity on the east limb. That big eruption that went off to the east, that is from old region 3614. That one has still yet to rotate into Earth view, but old region 3615 and 23 are rotating into Earth view. You can see them right here. They've been renumbered, region 3637 and 3638, and you just saw a big solar flare from them. We're expecting to get a lot more radio blackouts from these regions over the course of this next week, and possibly Earth-directed solar storms. So aurora photographers, get ready, and amateur radio operators and emergency responders, well, expect more noise on the dayside radio bands.
A new source of light is now reaching our solar system, interpreting Earth's magnetic field, altering the biological rhythms. This is forcing the species to leave behind its old time cell of perception on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. This must take place before the species can go into a new time cell of consciousness with a unified perception. As the arcs of light begin to change, a different light force is beginning to work with the electromagnetic forces, this causing the magnetic fields of the brain cavity to be sufficiently raised to a higher mental frequency, allowing us to receive the whole light beings who will give instruction as to the program of the next level of creation. It has previously been thought that the light forces of the Earth's magnetic field control the rhythms of life of all biological species, and living cells need only the light of our own portion of the electromagnetic spectrum to survive. However, without new magnetic paradigms working with multiple arcs of color, the color of radiations of the sun's light will not be sufficient for survival of the species. We will, therefore, begin to work with more of the complete spectrum. Major color factor, however, will be the warm white color coding, which will enable us to integrate with our original form sent from higher universe to this world.
I'm aware of a whole new wave of people who hadn't heard of me or my experiences before now that have been reaching out. Something recently introduced the ideas of Lemurians, Telos, Inner Earth, or Mount Shasta and triggered them to learn more the same way it happened with me. Then their research pointed them in my direction. So to help acquaint us, I'll share some snippets from a transmission I received in September 2022 in light language form that'll help you understand some of what's come my way through a series of unsolicited messages. This one is one of the more special exchanges to me with Yedyamya. You can listen to it in its entirety on my channel. I'll leave the link in the description. I love listening to star language, especially when it's meant for me. Here is where I received codes I carry from upgrades I received, and where I commenced integrating my connections to higher aspects. Enjoy this little peek into my world.
So let's see. Like I said, I was ready to pop, and then I probably wrote like 6 pages, but to me they're just this, and it was just nonstop. So which means something big is coming in, and it's just like so massive it can't be. Yeah, it's definitely vibrational, and that is why people resonate with it. I do know somebody who's been a shaman for like over 20 years, and when I speak it, she can almost always decipher it, but she feels it. She'll tell you have to feel it through your body, and then she gets a translation. So those are, I would say, the only times that it's not fun.
Well, the day that I mentioned Toth in the middle of our thing, and you kicked into a whole nother level, that's when I got it. I don't know what hit my ethereal field that day, but something did.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's always been.
It was emotional.
Yeah. And that's how, for me, even though I know that even if I'm not feeling anything during an exchange, like if I'm hearing the language or whatever, and I know that if I'm not having any sense of anything, I know something is going on still, right, that I'm not aware of. But it's those moments when I can feel it, that those are my favorite, because it's just like, wow, right? Like, you just know. So
yeah.
Okay, well, let's see. So I'm just gonna ask to ground. Has to be the clearest, purest channel possible, bring through the highest wisdom, guidance, healing for Lowell and myself in this moment, in the highest good of all, in the highest love and light, peace and truth and oneness, and deep reverence for all life. Yedyamya yukuro sompanti stri mai and urahai. Greetings, dai esti ti dai eta hai. I'm hearing greetings, O exalted one. Dra tu kai ikiata. Drase se kishka torese sintoreshe se kishkoro ornamentu kai ikikiseti kisteti kiseti. And my senses, they're bringing codes to you. Kastos koshta hishk in hairio urta tu ta ni ki I in it ut I ishta iki ta soto. Yadrase kishta irio sopor ho paista sini aitura kai poshona tantura kati eladara doror basesista yor pantura sekikio sor shaita tariena katai. Arraier yornama tu tanmastra yesto nushkan dan de tu shai neta sepistro. Gedele se pursta se pursta so somba pututure apuranatasi. Trai e antukai. Brakia se si. Dandore se dora se sai. Kai atra katukai. This is very important. Da se
You're repeating it for me to make sure I see the patterns.
Esta se si, te se si, tre se si. Esta se si, te se si, te se si, te se si, te se si. Making sure that it's being received. This is so karashi all the way to the point that the layers. This is so
weird you said layers, because that's what when you were doing this before, that was layer 1. Layer 2 followed, layer 3 followed.
Okay.
You're building this symbol that's all going to compress like a sigil. And you just tucked all that code and boom.
They're very happy with your progress, that you can understand that. Gara sisi tura hatura ishta sisi kishketi sisi tura Yedyamya sai mushka tantiri. Bring your awareness into your throat. Garas dalus turushkor pampas tu stressi esta necessitita yasi. You must embody more. Sakadanu kata sisita dandaletaye ti ayeti anuno nashina dayaki. More of your essence. Bringing it into the physical vessel. Saturating your cells. It's like feels like a for lack of a better word, upgrade. There's that's needed to your cellular structures, and the organisms within the cells to hold more light, hold higher.
The metamorphosis you referred to.
Yeah, holding higher frequency. So they want to bring through some recoding. See this? This is some that is recoding. Makur kai ishto kai recoding. Kikesutu kai recoding. Kiki atura hatu tu ta hi kiki atu hai iti kiki I ita hai. Diki, it's cellular recoding.
Wow. Okay. It was palpable, pal.
Okay. Kakasati, thank you. Thank you for that confirmation. So I just need to confer with them for a moment. Well, I'll just share with you. So this week, right, I received all this stuff that it's time to recode the human genome. That it's time now to do it in a level that's never been accomplished before. And this is something that they're wanting me to do. And I was like, this sounds like a bit too much for me in this moment to take in, and you need to confirm this with me some way that's that I haven't solicited somebody, being like, can you confirm this? I said, I need confirmation. And they told me Lowell, and they didn't say anything else. And I thought, and I said, okay, well, in my mind, then you're going to bring it up somehow. Like maybe you're going to pick up that I need to that it's time to start recoding. So this is what's happening. They want to recode the DNA and RNA so that it can hold more light. It's basically, like recoding or reworking it, because it's been manipulated. Yeah, our DNA has been manipulated, and
all the more reason why, like the day before yesterday, I pushed Kumu's thing about light out again. Get people to think about it.
So they're just making me feel images of the cell, and like the distorted DNA being removed, and the new DNA, or the I don't know if you want to call it new, because it's not new. It was our original design, is what I feel, being returned. This takes, this is what they were telling me before. It's like a series of 5. It's like a process of 5. So layers, right? Okay, so now it feels like another group coming in that are geneticists. They feel very different.
These are carbon bodies.
Yes.
And there is a feeling that comes associated with these things that, have been this nebulous idea about changes in our DNA and physicality, and that whole process from carbon to crystalline. Here, you're activating part of that with what we're doing here.
Yes. Activating more of it, because it's already been started. Yes.
Correct.
So they're showing me like preparing you for surgery. So just remain as still as you can and relax as much as possible. The team is tending to you. We are experts. They know you. They're saying, it's good to be with you again. Though your form is different, your energy is the same. Thanking you for volunteering for this. As they do this, somebody else kind of come in. So they step aside. They're telling me to ground, which doesn't usually happen, so I'm assuming this is a big energy. Inai puha sora shinis daro namatase Yanasitukai. Greetings, and they said a name, but I don't know what the name was. Adash Edasekiasha Yasitiki. Adasisikish Gadres and Namasas Kituru Urokorana Masasitura Eshtayasiki Turunamaseti. Bradraya Bambu Roshe Purashanti te se. Et seti kishta situ toranamasiti. Mastako kasuko tu vasasini kieta, beloved one, drasasite titati. Toth is not the only aspect of you, seking to reconnect. This is sitra kayet anuhu. You are Situ Sukai also Mistashini Kishta Sokokai, a great commander, down Delayastra Sukai. Aboard one of the motherships is the Sukashtrasiniashtan Purasistro Yokokai. This is how we know each other. My aspect is a high commander. We are equals. Comrades, you may feel yourself traveling. Great explorer of the universe. Record keeper, your world is about to blow open. It's important to anchor or you'll get swept away. You're receiving information at night. About the nature of the galaxy, black holes, traveling through black holes, complexities, of the universe. Many more will be seeking you out. To speak of galactic things, of cosmic things, of that which is unknown to most of your population. You will be branching out.